So, Discord discussions. We need like individual theme songs for these, but
we have a background music that is the interlude there.
It's the whole thing for the whole thing. Discord discussions. So, you might remember that on the very first episode of TPK, we talked a little bit about Roblox.
We did, and how it's a hellscape or a hexscape.
A hexscape. That's right. Not a six-sided scape, but a hexscape. Very important to make that clear. One of the things that we touched on briefly, I think you actually brought it up.
I did.
If only you had known.
If only I had known.
You had brought up that there are like full-blown cults in Roblox. And
allegedly cults, yes.
Cults. And
for those of you listening to the audio-only version, that was an air quote cult.
Sorry, quote-unquote quote cults. Quote cults.
Quolts.
Quolts. That's just the name of the episode, is Quolts, and everybody has to figure out what that means. Okay, so after that, we had some people in our Discord that were like, hold it a second, Roblox cults? And we were like, yeah, I need like a whole thing on that, folks. I need a whole thing.
This is the sort of perfect thing where we mention something and people are like, no, you need to expand on this. And we're like, oh, okay, we can do that.
Yeah. So
this is your fault.
Yeah, it's your fault.
Not you, Nathan. I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
The listener.
I know. Yeah, you there. Here's how that shook out.
Nathan's been on a rabbit hole.
I had to go and watch things that are not in my normal viewing window.
And now your YouTube algorithm is all fucked up.
It is just out the... there's nothing I can do about it now. To find out about Roblox cults. And,
to be fair, I have listened to some stuff about them as well, so it's not just you, Nathan. Don't worry.
Okay, good.
I think you did a little bit more heavier research on your end, but I've also listened to a bunch of videos.
Good.
Beforehand, which is why I brought it up.
Okay.
Like Some Ordinary Gamers has a couple dealing with Roblox cults. A couple other people.
Yep. Yeah. I watched one really, like, it was supposed to be funny. It was definitely a funny one. Where that I'll link to in the description, because if you're into like the tangible part, but you don't want it any like spooky, or you don't want to get too disturbed by anything, it was the scariest Roblox cults, and it talked about the cute shy uwu cult, the furry Baptist church, and the Jake Paulers, and
oh god.
So if that sounds entertaining to you, I'll try to link that, because that was fun.
I would like to become a member of what was that first one? The uwu cult?
The cute shy uwu cult. If you have,
can you edit on the screen so I've got like blush and then
I'll get it.
Yeah,
I'll
thanks.
get you the blush.
It'll be the uwu. That'll be the thumbnail.
It is. I forget who she is, but the whole thing that she did for that video was absolutely hilarious. Where she was pulling up quotes for all of the terrible things that the uwu cult had to do about
all of it.
Oh yeah, and the terrible things, and it's this just horrible scenario of all the terrible things the cultists had to do, but all the R's are replaced with the W's in the entire book. It was horrible.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was amazing. But that's probably not what people think about when they think about Roblox cults.
Boy, I hope not.
Yeah.
Or I hope so, maybe, who knows?
Yeah, I prefer not to engage too much with it. But
yeah.
So some of the things I noticed about some of the typical things. There's a lot of long, creepy hallways in these cult scenarios. you kind of go down these long, creepy hallways that have, like, you know, there's a lot of teeth involved. Like, there's the teeth coming out of walls, and there's supposed to be an altar at the end or someplace you jump off of, and
Listen, you don't need teeth to make a hallway creepy.
it's just a hallway.
You just need dim lighting
Oh, yeah.
and ending you can't see.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
called liminal spaces.
Yeah. Okay.
You don't need elements of horror. You just need elements of slight nostalgia and vague creepiness.
Okay. Well, they did achieve that. But then they also put some teeth in there. People love the teeth. And the eyes.
Oh.
Just random eyes in the sky and stuff like that. One of the things I found, without getting into the specific cults is, boy, there's a lot of, like, the urban legend and, like, the internet meme characters that come into play. Like Siren Head and Longhorse, which
I
are...
have no idea who Longhorse is.
Yeah, no, and those are actually two characters in a milieu of a whole things from a Canadian horror artist known as Trevor Henderson.
Okay, I know Siren Head.
Yeah. Well, and
I don't know Longhorse.
yeah, Longhorse is a long horse. It's very long. Imagine a horse's head.
Wow.
No, imagine a horse's head that's like on a giant snake body.
No.
Too late.
No. I'm familiar with like Slenderman and the Slenderverse.
Sure. Sure.
Siren Head,
Yeah.
things like that. Okay.
It's all the
Anyways.
the upside down face man.
Oh
Do
yeah.
that? Yeah, upside down face.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, just a whole bunch of stuff that probably came out of a live journal or something at one point. That
Some
somebody...
Tumblr blog.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so yeah, anytime you see like a new age horror icon, it infests itself in there. I saw some battles that were literally a battle between Longhorse and Siren Head, and you like you're one of the arbiters of the various things. Yeah,
All right then.
it's crazy. There's also probably the most notable one there's a cannibal cult. Yeah, it's a Sisters Covenant, and that's a whole thing. But the thing I found so hilarious is when they get to the part where they explain what the cannibalism is supposed to look like in the game. It's amazing. It's like, for the people who are looking at audio, you're not going to be able to describe this, but if I have my hand here and I'm making my hand into a fist, and this is the top of my Roblox man, and this is the bottom of my Roblox man, and I stand over somebody, my Roblox man just kind of goes like this over the top, and it looks so hilarious the entire time. But they actually thought to program in that, like, human flesh has, like, restores an amount of HP in the game.
Oh yeah, it's because people make those worlds. They can program those game worlds essentially to do whatever.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
And that's the thing. It's people spend time and energy making these things, and it's so weird. And then they put all that energy into the lore and the story behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe one of the links you showed me was like a Roblox wiki or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Essentially, of the mythos, as it were.
Yeah.
And there are cults that are they're like stories that take place in the world, but they're not necessarily like cults.
Right.
But they call them kind of cults. And then there's the myths and legends and stuff.
Yeah.
There's
the cult family is one
Right.
of the most famous mythoses, and those are all like they have individual characters that are their name with cult after it, and that's a whole lineage of people and what happened to them and stuff like that, like an actual story arc that I don't really care about, but it's fascinating that they made that. I did get incredibly concerned for humanity, I think, though, when I was looking through this, because, like, I understand the notion of like trying to use creative tools to try and make stories and worlds. There's a creative pursuit in it. I'm just confused as to why people thought to make this stuff.
These people are cringy.
Yeah, okay, so it's not just me.
No.
Okay. I get a little bit concerned. I think the other thing is, like, I was watching that, and I felt a general sense of unease usually when I was watching a lot of people play those, but I never really felt, like, scared, or more importantly, I never had, like, the sensation like I would with either real cults or, those sort of things, or just the general idea of, like, urban myth, like
Right.
the ones that we've come up with over many, many millennia. Things that kind of like inherently hit you as scary.
Yeah.
Those stories about like Wendigos or vampires.
Wendigos are terrifying.
Wendigos are terrifying. They are. And maybe it's the thing I have a little bit of a problem with when I see a lot of like the newer creepypasta kind of characters.
Yeah, skinwalkers.
Skinwalkers, yeah.
I love those types of creepy things. Like we've talked before about like my love of creepy but not horror.
Cryptids.
I think I don't even care about cryptids necessarily.
No.
Like a lot of them, Mothman.
Oh yeah.
Some of them are just really dumb to me, but others are really interesting. Like again, skinwalkers and Native American legends like that.
Mm-hmm.
The Wendigo skinwalkers, things like that are like subtly really creepy, and it's like coming from a place of myth in the real world kind of deal, not like Bigfoot. Bigfoot's like, okay, sure, but like Native American religion and superstition and that type of thing is really interesting because it's as white Americans we're not as in touch with that part of culture necessarily in other
area.
Well, from it's same as if you were to go talking about some Japanese type mythos and the Oni and stuff like that. It's very interesting because it's not your culture necessarily. So you then go, all right, these are things that culture believes in or has mythic like in the past believed in, and those are interesting, even if they're most likely not real things. But it's fun to think about that stuff.
Sure.
So I like the creepy more than I like the horror because it's, as you said, a Holly with teeth and eyes.
Okay.
Meh.
Yeah. All right. That's.
I get the visual aesthetic is creepy.
Yeah. But it doesn't hit you in the same way that some stories do, where it feels like visceral. Like
it's not something you would necessarily ever have the chance of encountering in real life.
Yeah.
And it hits so much harder when it's something that you can experience for yourself in reality.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, it doesn't have to be real, but if that's the liminal spaces thing, the exploration stuff in VR I was talking about before is, all right, these are places that can exist. They feel like they're places that are real. Sometimes they're modeled after real places.
Right.
These hit harder because they're like, yeah, that's familiar.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
One of the places like that for me is like the back rooms. If you're familiar with the concept, the creepypasta.
No.
Look it up if you haven't.
Okay.
If any of you have not listened to anything or seen anything about the back rooms, it's kind of a weird creepypasta thing, but also the concept, the picture is a liminal space as well, so it's just off-putting slightly. But interesting because it's like it's a familiar place feel.
Yeah, it's like when people say one of the scariest things is like if you go into a room and everything's moved to the left 1 inch.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that was Stephen King who said that, isn't it?
I think so. But whoever said it was right. There is actually a really good podcast.
Is it ours?
Well,
No.
specifically on like the you know, the mythos that, you know, springs up, which was called lore from Aaron Mankey.
Okay.
And lore is a really good one because every one of those episodes are about those like legends and myths about things that are just kind of like just a little bit off to the side. A lot of it though based on actual stuff, actual truths. One of the ones that stuck with me though was when they were talking about a story about a guy that was in the woods, took his dog out for a walk, and gets to a crossroads, and in the light of one of the street lights out by the woods, there's like this little creature that's kind of like hunched over and sort of like beckoning him and the dog to come over by them, and he doesn't go, runs home. And he never sees him again, but that there's like similar stories about creatures that are in the woods.
Of course,
like
the woods are
that.
scary as hell.
Woods are terrifying by their very nature. A lot of these stories are in places that are creepy anyway, and then you get into the
Yeah. Hey, Roblox creators, all you that are listening, because we probably hashtagged Roblox in this one again.
Yeah.
Make a cult. Make a creepy world that is like
In the woods.
the depths of the woods.
Yeah.
Like a cabin in the woods. Don't give any reason for it to be there, and then vague ambient sounds off to the side. Don't show anything terrifying. Don't give you any real lore behind it. Give you vague little hints of things. That is far more terrifying and creepy to let your mind wander than it is to tell people outright what's going on.
Yeah. You don't even have to have a jump scare or a creature in there. You just have the cabin and then the woods surrounding it.
It is so much better, in my opinion, to have the tension and the expectation of something than to actually deliver on that, because then you just let as long as you're good about it, the ambience can really, again, these VR videos too, it's let your world design and your sound design speak volumes, literally, for you.
Yeah, it sure can.
One of those things that he did in one of those maps on the Gmod maps was the game supplied him with a weapon, like right out. It's like, okay, but now I have the expectation I'm gonna need this, so now I'm on my guard.
Right. Right. Yeah.
I don't remember if he ever used it, but it's like, I have this gun, and now I expect to have to use it.
Oh yeah.
So not having to use it is like, you're constantly on edge waiting for that thing you need to use it for.
Right. I almost always, when I get into a game, I start thinking to myself, okay, have they given me something to use in combat? If they've given me something to use in combat, I assume there's combat. If they have not, I'm probably going to assume that there is not. But then, if I have something I have to run away with, and I do not have any combat ability or skill, I assume that I guess what I'm doing is hiding or running away. Like, that's usually the setup and the premise. Alien Isolation, ironically, actually does give you weapons, but good luck.
Yeah. See, give someone a weapon and don't expect them to use it.
Yeah.
Or don't give them a reason to use it, and it's a lot scarier, or a lot more fear-inducing than giving someone no weapon and them needing to have one.
Oh my god. You know, I was just thinking about, go back to that cabin in the woods scenario that we're building for the mod. I had this idea that, like, on the edge of the game world that you have, you kind of, like, look back, and on the back of one of the trees is, like, a bloody knife that's, like, just stuck into the tree. And you just, no explanation as to why. But then I thought, oh, you know what would be even, like, crazier? Is that...
If you can take the knife?
Oh, no. You start in the cabin, and you're holding the knife.
Oh.
And you have no idea why.
That would be good.
That would be... You're holding the bloody knife, and the whole thing is just trying to figure out, what happened here and why am I holding this?
And it's just a blood stain soaked on the floor, streaking outside,
Yep. Yep.
and then a drag mark.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what?
What did I do something? Did someone else do something? Is someone else around here? There's that, and that's like a micro game. You don't need that to be big. You don't need to be that long. That can be like a 30-minute game of just that exploration sort. So there you go. That's way creepier than a horse head on a snake.
Way creepier than the cannibal cults in Roblox.
And although probably not as scary as the Jake Paulers.
Probably not as scary
No.
as Jake Paulers.
I'm gonna give them that. That is terrifying. Don't go there if you want to live.